I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Today, we are talking about something that I talk about a lot, I feel like, inside Mama to CEO and Simple Scaling Mastermind, but I haven't really talked about that much on the podcast, and that is technology. Specifically, I'm going to be talking to those of you who are more on the beginning phase of your business who may feel overwhelmed when you think about all of the options with technology. But first, I want to say this. I am officially announcing my brand new workshop that I have just created, and I have had the hardest time not shouting from the rooftops how amazing this workshop is going to be. It's called How to Build Your Online Business. I have never done anything like this before. And what's so funny is as I've been preparing for it, I've been like, these concepts that are in here are the types of things that I talk about, like with friends or at a kid's birthday party. Like when people start asking me about online business and how it works and how to get started and what it looks like and the types of businesses, like all those things, it is all in there. I have the funniest little analogies, and the content is next level. I'm going to be talking about why I think online business is so important and why I think it's really the best career you could possibly have now and in the future. I think we're living in such a unique time where we have so many options. So I'm going to be telling you about that. I'm going to be telling you about the different types of online business that you can start. There's 4 different types that I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to talk about pros and cons and how to decide. So if you haven't started yet, this is going to be a perfect time for you to narrow down and make that decision. And if you do have a business and you've been struggling to make money and sign clients and get momentum with it, this is really going to allow you to get that clarity around, is this the right business for me? Is the business the problem? And so you're going to get total clarity and insight there on, am I building the right business? Which business is the right one for me? From there, we're going to talk about the 4 things that all online businesses need. I'm going to break those down for you. I'm going to talk about how to get them, and you are going to walk away with so much insight into how to create a profitable business. There's so much confusing and conflicting advice out there, and I realized it was really my turn and time to step into this space, to put this information out there, to put my opinions out there. I noticed I had a lot of clients coming in to Mama to CEO who didn't have this baseline of information that I'm going to be teaching. So I'm going to be putting that out there for free on how to build your online business. This is happening July 27th. So mark it in your calendar now. Get this in your calendar now. You can go to build.samanthasifring.com to register. I will send you the Zoom details. I will get you all pumped up for how to build your online business live. It is going to be so fun. I can't wait to see you there. So let's talk about technology. I talk to a lot of people who are new to their business who say things like, I'm not good at technology, or I'm really confused about which technology I really need to use, or they feel very overwhelmed by the idea of even starting a business online because of all the technological components. This is going to be something that we dive into a lot in how to build your online business. But this episode is really going to help you simplify what you need. What you're going to learn on that workshop is that I highly recommend that you start off with a service-based online business versus product. And there's going to be a lot of supporting evidence why. I am going to share all of that on that training. But part of it is relevant in this episode. And that part is if you are selling like t-shirts or something like that online, there is more technology that you have to figure out than if you are selling services, if you're selling consulting, if you're selling virtual assisting, if you're selling graphic design. Although if you're doing graphic design, I think maybe you're probably pretty good with technology. But if you are offering a service to someone, there is less technology that you need than if you are selling products. So I wanted to just put that out there as a little insight into my philosophy of what kinds of online businesses are really going to be the best for you. So let's talk about why this feels so overwhelming. So I think when you first come into this space, when you're first exposed to online business, you likely see a lot of established businesses. When I first decided to get into the world of online business, the first online business owners that I found were people who had multi-million-dollar businesses. They were people who were making over $1 million a year with their online business. And $1 million a year online business looks very different than a brand new, getting right off the ground, pre-six figures, pre-100K online business. And I think that this is something that trips up a lot of us. I know it really did for me, and I see it still with people. And it's why I teach the simplicity that I teach around business, and why there may be things that you see me doing, even though I still at this level, I believe in simplicity. I believe in all the foundations that I teach. You may see that I do some things differently. And it's because this level of business, $1 million business like mine, is very different than one that is just getting started. So I'm always going to be teaching you the getting started perspective unless you are in Simple Scaling Mastermind. And then you get to learn all the advanced stuff, all the next level stuff. But for those of you who are at that beginning point, it is so important that you are looking at what are the things that are best and most effective for a business that is just starting out. So new businesses really don't need a lot of technology. Technically, we need no technology at all. You could go out in the world, you could talk to people, you could tell them what you did, they could give you cash, and then you could provide the service. So technically, there is no technology that is needed. So I want you to always remember that. It's always going to allow you to see the big picture, which is going to help you to decide what you actually need. So as you're approaching your business, I want you, when in doubt, to focus on simplicity and being a human, and really think about the why, that big picture. What is the purpose for each thing? Because there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need that because other people have that you don't actually need. So you always want to come back. How essential is this really? So here are my thoughts on the kind of technology that I think is a good idea to have when you are starting out in your business. So the first one is an email address. If you're going to be doing business online, you do need to have an email address. And ideally, this is going to be something that you have made custom to your business. I will tell you, recently, a friend of mine asked for a referral, and I was sharing the person's contact information, and all I had for them was a Gmail address. It was like susiebusinessowner@gmail.com. And I did not feel super confident sharing that contact information with this friend of mine. It felt like I was sharing a entry-level beginner rookie business. And yes, that may be where you are, but I think you give yourself a little bit of an advantage when you have some of these more professional things, some of these things where it looks like you actually plan to have this business going into the future. I know when I was first starting my business, I kind of had this thought like there's some things that I don't want to invest in until the business has proven that it can actually last. And I know a lot of you think this way about coaching, and I think that's an epic mistake. Like I would so much rather see you investing in coaching than any of the tech we're talking about today. Just as an FYI, like if we're talking about what's going to create tangible results in your business, it's going to be buying Mama to CEO versus a website or an email address or something like that. Like we will figure out those little details later after you've gotten some money from a client, right? So I want you to really be curious, like what part of you has this idea that you're not going to invest at all or very much in your business until it has proven itself. Because I want you to think about how you show up from that mentality in this business. When you're like, prove it. Like, what if we did this with our kids? What if we were like, well, we're not going to sign you up for school until you prove that you're smart. Like, what? That's stupid. We would never do that. Or if we did, we would be bad parents. Like that's objectively bad parenting. And I think it's objectively not great business ownership either. To starve your business from the things it needs to grow because it is not growing. That's just like not watering your plants because they haven't produced tomatoes yet. Like what? No, that's so backwards. So I want you to show up to your business like you actually intend to grow a legitimate business. Like if this is a hobby and you just kind of want to invest the bare minimum and play around with it, fine, but own that, right? Like don't kid yourself about what you're here to do. If you're here to build a serious business, then be serious about it. Ooh, all right. Fired up over here. So get an email address. Ideally, make it custom to your business. Susie@susiesbusiness.com, please. No more Gmail. Stop the madness. You can do this for like so cheap on, I think you can do it on Google Business. So go do that. Invest some in your business, you guys. Come on. All right. Then I want you to have somewhere where people can find you if they're Googling you. So if they're like, hey, I know Susie has a business, Susie's business, type it into Google and they can't find anything. That doesn't inspire a lot of trust, right? So I want you to think about all of these pieces online, like all of the technology that I'm going to talk about when you're first starting out. And actually, honestly, forever. Like this is how I think about technology. I think about making the experience amazing for my clients at every stage. That is always what I'm thinking about. So when we're investing in new technology, that is the reason for it. We're making it better for our clients. Like when I got a new podcast mic, it was to make this experience better for you, to make the audio quality better for you when you were listening to this. Probably if you go back to the early episodes, you'll be like, oh my gosh, cringe. But that's all right. We all start somewhere, right? So you want the experience of your potential client to be one that is building trust in you. So when they Google, they find something that says legitimate business. So let's talk about what that's going to look like, because I think that probably when I say that, what comes up in your mind is that it should be like when you search for like Lowe's and everything pops up. They're on like every social media platform. They've sponsored TV shows. They have their fancy website, and like the whole first 3 pages of Google are all things from Lowe's home improvement store. I don't want you to get stuck in thinking that it has to be like that, okay? It can be just one thing where people can go that looks good, that looks like an actual business, that's going to help them believe that you have an actual business. So this doesn't have to be a website. This is something I teach in Mama to CEO. I teach you that websites are optional when you're just starting out because they don't create tangible results. But if you want to have one in Mama to CEO, I give you a guide for creating the content that needs to be on there. It can truly be as simple as one page. So this could just be like a landing page. And there are sites like Squarespace and other platforms that make it very easy if website is the thing that you want to have. This can be super simple. Please do not spend so much time on this. This is a lesson from me when I first started my business. Literally the first thing I did was create the most elaborate website you have ever seen in your life. Why did I do this? Because of course, I changed my niche, I changed my message, my offers, all the things changed so much. And then this elaborate website was totally not even relevant. So don't do that. Don't spend tons of time on this. Keep it very simple if you're going to have a website. You don't have to, though. This can be an Instagram for your business. This can be a business Facebook page. It doesn't have to be all the things, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but I want it to look polished. I want it to look put together. I want it to look like a legitimate business. Think about that Google factor. Somebody's Googling you to see your business. Are they going to have trust increasing or decreasing when they see what they find? So somewhere they can find you if they're Googling: a professional business email address. The next thing that you are going to want is some way to accept payment. This can also be so easy. The first thing I did starting out for this was PayPal. I just created a brand new PayPal. Please start off with separate finances. Do not just go with your personal PayPal or your personal Venmo and be like, Venmo me. No, I want you to create one for your business. This is a business, right? Not a hobby. So create one for your business. It can be Stripe. It can be PayPal. I think Venmo does business now. Create a place to receive money for your business. And you can just send invoices directly through it to keep things super simple. There's other platforms for invoicing and all the things, but in the spirit of keeping things really simple, you can do it directly from these platforms. You can request money from these platforms. It does not have to be crazy fancy, all right? And then the final category of technology that you need is whatever you need to deliver to your client. So like I was saying earlier, the graphic designer, they probably know a thing or two about technology and probably have those platforms that they prefer to use. For me as a coach, a scheduling service was one of them. I used Calendly when I first started out. That one is fantastic. I think it's a Black-owned business. Very cool. Look into that one. And I also use Zoom still to this day. Zoom is a huge piece of my business. That is how I communicate with all of my clients. But I think that those are really the main 2 things that I needed when I was first starting out as far as the client delivery piece. And for a lot of you, it's probably the same. So it can be this simple. Truly, it can be as simple as these 4 categories of things. So having an email address, professional for your business, having one place people can find you if they Google that looks decent, having a place that people can pay you, a way that they can pay you, and having whatever the client deliverable thing needs to have for you to deliver to your clients, having those types of things. Like I said, for me, it was a scheduler and a video chat platform. But I will say, I know coaches who use phone calls, so you can even go lower tech than Zoom. You get to do this however you want to do it. I want you to really think about this when you're choosing these categories of technology. Which one is going to have the least drama for me and be the quickest for me? Like if you're thinking, oh, I want an Instagram or a website. Okay, which is going to be the quickest and the lowest drama? Done. Pick that one. So you can get yourself to 100K in most businesses and niches with very little tech and doing basically all of it yourself. So all the things that I've talked about, I believe in your capacity to do these things yourself, and I believe in your capacity to make 100K with only these things. All right? Really accept that. Really consider that for yourself. And then when you want to hire somebody, I think is when there's something that you truly need that becomes an essential for you, but your time is better spent on something else than figuring out how to do it. Like I always believe I have the capacity to figure out anything, like editing a podcast, running Facebook ads, creating a funnel, scheduling emails, building a website. Like I've done a lot of those things. I believe in my capacity to do those things, but it's not always the best use of my time to do those things. So if you are like having to take away time from discovery calls or client work or sleep or something like that to try to edit your podcast or something like that, like hire this out, right? I had a podcast editor from day one. I was like, I have a lot of strengths and I know that this is not one of them. And I'm pretty sure I had this thought, like I will not have a podcast if I have to edit it myself. And I decided I'm just going to invest in this. This is just going to be part of the investment that I make in my business. And it has saved me so much time. And it's probably with my mastermind, like the number one thing that so many of them changed day one coming out of our most recent live event. So many of them were spending hours. Like I can't even believe how many hours. We did a time audit with a few of the clients, like really going through like how are you spending your time and how can we be more efficient about this? The amount of time spent on podcast besides just the quick recording and like the note writing and stuff blew my mind. So a ton of them went out and hired podcast editors after that, which yay. I'm very pro creating jobs, paying other people, all of that, but only when it really makes sense. Okay, keep it simple, everybody. This can be so much simpler than you think. Keep it simple. Being human is enough. And remember the big picture of your business and really thinking through, is this essential? All right, go out there and have fun with your businesses, keeping things simple. And I will talk to you next week. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, MAMATOCEO.com.